Schultz and Adrian Broadus.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Happy Tuesday to all of you out there listening to us either on 600 ESPN, AM radio, in your cars, in your homes, your transistors, or if you're listening to us online or on the app, welcome as well. Adrian Broadus, you just heard from him. Alberto Urueta, welcome back. Good to see you. Man, you look like you're a little happier today.
A little happier, yes, sir. I'm going to be eating, looks like we'll be eating fish sticks tonight.
What happened? Did you exchange the device or did you try another outlet?
We tried another outlet just earlier today. Worked wonders. So
there it is.
Looks like we fixed it.
Does it bother you that for 5 different times over the weekend you didn't think about this earlier?
It's just the counter space that it was on was perfect.
Well,
so now it's gone. Now it's on in this awkward position. So it's like, whatever.
Let me tell you this. Sometimes it can't always be perfect.
That's
you
true.
have to make sacrifices to reap the benefits out of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just that's life. By the way, this is a lesson not just in fish sticks. This is a lesson in life that life doesn't always work out the way you want it to. It's not always the perfect situation. Sometimes you got to get a little, you got to try and screw up. Sometimes it's not always the most comfortable thing. It's uncomfortable to get the results you're looking for.
That's what happened. You got to get creative, like you said, and now we just have to make sure it doesn't fall from where it is because that would be horrible.
Well, why don't you figure out a way?
It's balanced. It's well balanced.
Oh no, Adrian, this story, I feel like this has a bad ending coming up. If he's telling me that it's balanced, why do I have a weird feeling that something's going to happen in the next couple of days?
Okay, Alberto, just for safety reasons, our friend Cade McConnell today at practice was wondering, why are the guys calling you? So I'm sure he was somehow listening to the show, but why are the guys calling you at the beginning of the show yesterday? The reason why you were a little bit behind, you were dealing with issues to your air fryer, which we're talking about right here, but maybe the lesson is unplug the air fryer just to be safe, just for safety measures, because we are still worried about your safety. And we still know that despite all the success that you had recently with this one, there still might be some issues with the electrical things on your house when it comes to this stuff.
We did see it is extremely high voltage. It's like, what, 1,700
it's not that bad.
volts?
It's not that
Volts.
bad. My air fryer is 1550. And it's a single, and it's a smaller one than yours. So it's not that big a deal. So the 1700 is not like you've got so much energy you're taking the whole power grid down out of Mission Hills. Nothing like that.
We don't want to take down the whole neighborhood.
You don't want to do that. You know what'd be really upset is Paul Cicala.
Yeah, because he lives really close. If I took down the whole block, he'd be seriously affected.
Yeah, he'd be knocking on your door going, "What'd you do this time?"
He would know.
He would know. He'd be listening to the show. He'd hear all about that. He would know. What kind of crazy setup do you have right now in the kitchen? Where is it balanced?
It's just on top of my water cooler.
Oh,
but it's big, so it
You've got that thing on top of a water tank?
It's the perfect size.
Not. By the way, that Adrian,
you don't like how it fits, huh?
I am not.
Okay.
That doesn't sound good to me. Does it sound good to you?
No. What happens when you've used it to make the fish sticks and then you're switching it up? You're getting some fries afterwards, and oh, by the way, you want to reheat something later on. That plastic on the top of that water jug is going to get a little melted.
You're going to melt that plastic, dude. Don't do that. Go get yourself one of those little TV tables, something that balances, and just keep it in the kitchen. That's sturdy enough, and do it like that and make that work. Do not put that thing on top of a water jug. I'm happy I asked, because otherwise you're going to melt the water jug, and the next thing you know, you're going to have a real problem on your hands.
I mean, the dehydrator doesn't run at such
by the way,
high temperatures.
And I'm not even laughing right now. Have you noticed that yesterday I couldn't stop laughing at you?
Now it's not laughing. No,
now
you're
I'm
right.
getting annoyed with you because you're telling me that thing is balanced on a water jug.
Well, it just that's where that the next available outlet was. I'm gonna put it on the. I have like a counter there. I'm gonna put a counter. I'm gonna put it on the counter. Find space for it.
Yeah, you got to find space on the counter.
The thing is, it's a good size. That's the
problem.
By
the way, where is the outlet located that you've got it right now? Where's the outlet? In the kitchen?
Wall. Yes.
On the wall?
Yes.
Is there any space by the outlet currently at this point?
Yes, on the cooler.
No.
That's
where
I store the dehydrator. Just sits perfectly there.
No, because I mean, if the plug is on the wall in the kitchen, isn't there a countertop near it?
Yes.
What's the issue? What's there now?
Nothing.
Then why would you not put it there?
Because there's like only so much space. It doesn't really fit.
Why don't you only take it out? Listen.
It's big.
Take it out when you need it. And then
put it in a drawer.
Store it in a
You're
not going to put it in a drawer. Put it in in like a cabinet or a shelf when you're done with it. And that way you only take it out when you're ready to use it, so it's not going to take up space otherwise.
You're right. That's what I should do.
All right.
We fixed it.
Well, you know what the good news is? We figured this out in 4 minutes today, not 4 hours. That's good news. I feel better. I do. I feel good.
All taken care of.
Yeah. You know what? Done.
Makes us feel good.
Check that off the list. Are you gonna listen to us? You're gonna keep it balanced on that water cooler and melt your water cooler.
I'm gonna take it down.
All right.
I don't want to do that.
Good.
It does spit out hot air, so no.
Yeah, of course it spits out hot air.
I don't want to do that.
How do you think it cooks? So yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm amazed it hasn't happened yet today since you've done it.
Well, I just ran it for like 15 minutes to test out the new thing.
15 is a long time when you're dealing with something plastic underneath it.
And I was prepared for a power outage, not for the melting. So I wasn't looking. I didn't even look. I didn't even lift to look at to see if it was melted.
Could be. So you see, for all we know, it is melted right now. We don't even know.
It could be.
Adrian, from one issue to another with Alberto on this radio show.
Yeah, I think, for all the times that you spent here, there's probably a filing cabinet or two that maybe you could just ask to take home and use that as like an end table or something that could house this air fryer or something like that.
Here's a great comment on Twitter and X from our pal Ruben Ramirez. Does that guy and his fryer know what an extension cord is?
I do have an extension cord. I am using it, though. So that's what I was thinking. Maybe I can just put it where it was.
Get a second extension cord.
And extend it, yeah.
Why don't you go ask maybe the engineering team here has an extension cord.
I'm sure.
For you.
We probably have one literally lying around.
You probably literally do, yes. I agree. Not figuratively, but literally, yes.
There's one
You're
right there.
There it is. You just figured it out. You solved the problem.
Wow. We're on our problem-solving skills today.
We are.
That's what we're doing.
We absolutely are. I'm proud of you.
We're tackling all the problems.
I'm proud of you because you know what's going to happen? You're going to be in a better mood from now on.
Because things aren't going to be burned.
Yes, that's right.
Or without power.
And you're not without power, and you can continue to go naked in your house and not have to worry about putting on clothes. You're going to be okay.
That sounds like a dream.
Well, there it is. That sounds...
dream come true.
That's perfect. You and your cat.
Me and my...
All right. You ready for the show today? You okay? You good?
I'm trying to keep it together.
Do your best. Do your best. Okay. Got a lot to cover on the show today. First off, looking at the interviews that Adrian had today at UTEP football practice, you were busy today at the Sun Bowl. It looked like you spoke to like half a dozen people today.
Probably did. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Head coach Scotty Weldon led things off. Fresh off scrimmage 2. It's always better to wait a day, maybe 2 days even, Steve, right after the scrimmage, because they just kind of give a gut reaction right away. But I like it after they've watched the film and totally, like, they break down stats and stuff like that, and they truly see who had a good day and who maybe didn't have a good day. According to Coach Walden, the quarterback battle is neck and neck, so on and so on. They are maintaining that they will not announce the starting quarterback until next week, which is probably what we all speculated right now. I am speculating that, and I told this to Alberto off air, that they have probably an understanding or an idea of who that QB1 is, but they're keeping it still under wraps. The two quarterbacks are still competing, and they both think that they're neck and neck with each other. But I would say that if you gave the coaching staff some truth serum, they probably have an idea of what August 31st is going to look like.
Let's hear what Scotty Weldon had to say about this very subject when he met up with Adrian earlier today.
The way we're doing it is, early in fall camp, one day was Cage Day to run with the ones, one day was Scholars, and they would get the full day. And then what we did is we started switching it because, I wanted to see that. I wanted to get the volume, if you will, of reps. Okay, ton of reps with the ones, ton of reps with the twos. And then, okay, those groups also you got to chart too. If I showed you our quarterback production chart, it looks like a hieroglyphic because there's so many different categories we're charting on these guys. I'm being real. I want to see how they do if they're with the one offense against the two defense, and if they're against the one with the one offense, how they do against the one defense, and vice versa, right? So I want to chart all that stuff. Now then we started doing is trying to throw a sudden change at them just so they got to adapt. And so now we've gone in the past probably week or so, one period, Skylar will be with the ones, and then it'll flip the next period. And so now they're going back and forth, having to adapt to working with different people, and so that's been really good to kind of keep them. I'm all about, in a quarterback competition, I'm all about keeping them as uncomfortable as possible. Because if they're comfortable, then it kind of gets mundane, and I want to see who can adapt to change. Because that's what playing quarterback is all about, who can adapt to change and still be effective leading the team. So to answer your question, like where we're at, we are still neck and neck. I'm not going to make a decision on the starting quarterback until next week. And so we have a mock game to go through. We still have a lot of evaluation. I would say a lot of our competitions, I think we have a good idea of who our starters are. Certainly not at every spot, but the mock game is going to be big in that, and I'm going to evaluate everything. When you got guys that are neck and neck, it'd be different if one guy totally separated. The guy I had in my last place, he totally separated by this time. It was done deal. We named him. It was done. But these two guys, I love working with them every day, and I mean that. And I know, and you can ask me every day, and up till I give you that answer, up till I make the decision, I'm going to keep getting the same answer because they literally, unless one of them separates, literally, I can show you the chart. One of them's got, we chart touchdown drive. We don't chart just like their touchdowns. We chart touchdown drives. So if they led a touchdown drive. So, I think one of them has, last I looked, it was yesterday, it was 21 touchdown drives. The other one's got 20. It's literally his neck and neck. Both of them graded out 81% in the scrimmage. We're trying to grade it as hard as we can to try to find the deviation. It's really hard, man. Both these, the bottom line is this. If you want reality, we can win with both these guys. I really feel that strong, and we're blessed to have that because I think this day and age college football, you got to have more than one quarterback.
Okay, so there he is. That's talking now. As far as the quarterbacks go, want to hear from both of these guys because it's such an interesting storyline. It really is. Let's first get the opportunity. Well, I'll tell you what. These two comments are going to take a little while. In fact, we're right at a quarter past the hour. So it's the perfect time to break. And then when we come back, we'll hear from the quarterbacks. We'll hear from other members of the UTEP football team today as Adrian stopped by practice and had the chance to talk to them. And we'll get you ready. Folks, it's here. We're a week and a half away from the start of the season. It's right around the corner. Hard to believe. Nebraska is going to be a week from Saturday on 95.5 FM KLAQ, our partner station, because we're going to have Chihuahuas baseball Saturday, and we want to make sure we can run this game in its full without any issues. So, again, 95.5 KLAQ this Saturday for next Saturday, a week from Saturday, for UTEP and Nebraska. As we send it off to Charlie 1, let's get our first traffic update of the afternoon.
In the El Paso Metroplex, the troll spot that we have is I-10 East.
All right, so we're talking UTEP football. We're talking about the one subject we've discussed ad nauseum, which, again, still no word yet on who will be named the starting quarterback. You heard a moment ago from Scotty Walden on that. Let's now hear from the two individuals involved in the competition, Cade McConnell and also Skylar Locklear, both battling it out neck and neck. First, here's Skylar talking about the recent scrimmage and the fact that the season is right around the corner.
Skylar, the second scrimmage under your belt, how's the team feeling right now?
We feel great. The morale is high. We're getting through camp. We got a week left to camp and less than 2 weeks from game day. So as a team, we're still focusing on ourselves, getting better each day. Camp is not over yet. We've had to reiterate that a few times, but we feel great as a team, and we just cannot wait for game day.
Coach Walden really complimented the run game and said, there were standouts, guys like Javon Jackson, Corey Wren, so on, even Azell Jolly. Mm-hmm. What was the run game like in your perspective from the scrimmage and what you saw? You contributed to that as well, having a rushing touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the run game was great, and really it starts up front. It starts with our 5 linemen, our tight ends, any tight ends that are in the game, and then our running backs. That's really how we establish our dominance early in games is with that run game. That's the most important thing every single game is establishing the run and killing the run. And so when we can do that, it helps the rest of the offense flow better. It makes me feel better because I know that I can hand the ball off to Javon or Azell or Corey Wren or any of the other running backs and feel good that we're going to get yards and we're going to move the ball. and then it kind of just lets everyone else play free and lets the offense be explosive.
So 10 days away from your first FBS game. You've done it at the Division I level before. Your family going to be in attendance? What's the game day feel going to be like for you in Nebraska?
Yeah, that's the plan. Never been in Nebraska before, so excited for that. Excited to fly. FCS, we don't fly too much. We did a couple times, but I'm excited to see what the process is like here. I assume with Coach Walden it won't be like too different, but that's kind of what I'm about. I'm about kind of keeping my routines the same and not letting the moment get too big. So kind of just stay down, talk to my family, talk to my loved ones, and just kind of do what I do.
Okay.
All right, so that was Skylar. By the way, that last answer, he's talking like he's a starting quarterback on this football team. You hear that, the way he was describing that?
Yeah, he honestly was. I said this a week ago, and I'll maintain this. The longer it drags out into next week, I feel like Skylar's got a chance to take it, QB1. And if it's decided anytime soon enough, it's got to be Cade. That's just how I'm looking at things right now. I think if they really believe that things are the two are neck and neck in practice, those answers right there that Skylar's giving are very, Scotty Walden type answers. That's a QB1 right there.
Meanwhile, I saw this comment also, which was kind of interesting from Esau Hermosillo on Twitter and X. He said, they know they just don't want to tip their hand. Nebraska has tape on Cade. It doesn't have tape on Skylar. It's a chess match as much as it is a football game. I don't disagree with Esau, but let me say this. Looking at Cade last year and looking at Cade this year are going to be two different quarterbacks. The style is night and day different. Cade himself is a much different quarterback physically from how he's remade his body this offseason. So let's just say Cade gets named the starter for this game and the season and takes the field against Nebraska. If you try to study what he did during Dana Dimmel, it is not going to do you any good whatsoever to prepare you for what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah, I feel like that's unfair. It's an unfair comparison. In fact, I'd throw the last 6 games out the window last year. Those last 6 games just justify why Cade McConnell should be a Division I quarterback, right? I mean, he was a JUCO transfer who was a 4th stringer on the depth chart who never really thought he was going to get an opportunity like he did last year, but he ends up running with it in the last 6 games, and that just validates why he's a Division I quarterback. But as far as assessing, is he, an elite quarterback, good quarterback, great? We didn't really know last year. We didn't get the full sample size, and this year will be the real, full off season of Cade going through a legitimate system that is giving him an opportunity to be a starting quarterback where he can compete for that right there. It's a completely different situation than he had in 2023.
Let's hear from the aforementioned Cade McConnell. Here's his take on fall camp and the most recent scrimmage.
What's the team like right now?
Gosh, the second scrimmage was really fun. We had a lot of plays, a lot of things to dissect, a lot of different situations and different things that we did, and that was really cool to see and to be put in those type of situations. I think from a team perspective, there were such great plays on both sides that's what you're excited to see. You're excited to see the defense make plays. You're excited to see the tons of explosives that we had on offense, and you're just hoping that we can continue to keep that momentum as we head into Nebraska.
So the final 10 days here of practice leading up to the actual game, what's that feeling like?
Yeah, it's a combination of getting your body ready to play and trying to go as hard as you can during that. So we're going to take this next week of practice really seriously. We're not going to let off the gas. We're going to keep going hard, and we're going to be prepared for when we head down to Lincoln, Nebraska. It's going to be really fun. Our coaches and our strength staff, Coach Campbell, has done a great job of keeping our bodies optimal at an optimal performance, but also staying good and ready to go. And we have guys out here making plays. So when you have those two things combined, it's fun to see.
What is it going to be like to see, or are your family going to make the trip out to Nebraska, and what's that going to be like?
My family is going to make the trip out to Nebraska. That's one of the things that was circled on their calendar. It's not very often that you get to play, up at a Big Ten school in that type of environment. They weren't going to miss it for the world. So it's going to be, number one, exciting to go play there, but it's going to be really special that, to have family in the stands and to have the two most important people that have, supported me and allowed me to be here in the first place out there cheering for me. So it'll be cool.
Man, oh man. All right, so both quarterbacks are going to have their families there. One's going to be starting, and the other's going to be backing up. That's another interesting storyline heading into this Nebraska game.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing right there. I'll tell you this. I talked to Cade a while back, and we had discussed his family going to Nebraska. So they made this trip or plans for this trip a long time ago, and I think this one was an opportunity for their family. We know how big college football fans the Cade McConnell household is, so I think for the opportunity to be in front of a Big Ten crowd in Lincoln, Nebraska, I felt like they needed to seize it, so they were making the trip. Starter, no starter, QB1, QB2, doesn't really matter.
What about the comments I'm seeing on Twitter and X, the latest coming from Adrian at EnemyWinThe3, posting this: if you have 2 quarterbacks, then you have no quarterbacks.
That's an interesting philosophy. I think that there are some people who feel that way. I would say you look at some of the new coaches who join a system and they get a transfer portal quarterback right away. That's a one quarterback system right there, that you have an immediate replacement for whoever you have. Think about when Dana Dimel came here immediately. He brings Kyle Loxley out of the junior college ranks, and that was his guy at quarterback. There was no question. There was no battle. Even though Ryan Metz was on the roster at that time, in Dana Dimmel's eyes, it was always going to be Kyle Loxley because that's who he recruited, and he named that starter or that starting role pretty quickly. So that's just, I would say that take that for whatever it's worth.
Yep, you're right. And that's a great point you bring up. I mean, look, we know that from the experience factor, Cade has the advantage. We know that. But we also know on the flip side from the schemes and the system, well, Skyler has that advantage because he's been in that ever since he joined Austin Peay. So he knows that better than everybody else. So what it comes down to is, do you go with the young quarterback with no experience who knows the system, or do you go with the veteran experienced quarterback who's learning the system, picking it up quickly, but is more battle-tested against D1 opponents? I mean, heck, one of the things Skyler said that blew me away was, oh, he's excited about going on an airplane. I mean,
yes.
Think about this, okay? Here are your 3 levels of football, right? So number 1, well, actually really 2. Let's just put it 2. You have the FCS, which buses just about everywhere. And then you go to your Division 1 where they charter planes, okay? They don't fly commercial. They charter planes themselves. So all these guys that have been playing the last couple of years with Scotty Walden, they're not used to even getting on a plane, let alone chartering to another town. So for Skyler, it sounded like he was as excited about getting on a charter flight as he was going to Lincoln.
I wonder how much of a eye-opener this will be for the other Austin Peay guys. Because, I mean, Steve, they played against Tennessee last year, so it's not like they're a stranger to, like, high-level Power 4 opponents. But it's an FBS team that you're on now. This is totally different. I mean, you're now in the same playing sphere as all these other teams. Even though we're talking about different levels, Power 4 compared to Group of 5, they all compete in FBS football. They're all Division I schools. So when you're a UTEP going up against Nebraska, these teams pretty much, they're asked to do a lot of the same stuff. Nebraska could do it with just a bigger budget and, a lot more resources.
Have we already put the listener poll up and asked our listeners if they were picking a quarterback, who they would go for between these two?
Ooh, we have not.
Do
you feel like our audience is a little biased?
I feel like no, not necessarily, but I do feel like we should put a listener poll up at 600 ESPN El Paso and ask our listeners, with essentially 11 days left before the season opener and a wide open quarterback battle, who would they go with to start against the Huskers? Cade or Skyler? I'm fascinated to see, at least from our listeners' side, where they would go.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to throw it up on social media right now, and we'll just give 2 options.
I mean, that's all there is.
Yeah.
There isn't a third option. It's one or the other. So,
yeah, that's right. Let's do it.
And I would be fascinated with the popular pick. I really would. Then let's give it a full 24 hours. That way, when we come on the air tomorrow, we can announce the final tally. All right?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm all in on this.
Sounds great. 31 past as we continue here on Sports Talk. We're only with you for 2 hours the rest of the week because Tim's back on the road. He's in Oklahoma City getting ready for the Dodgers AAA affiliate and the Chihuahuas opening up their 6-game homestand tonight, 6:05 first pitch. All right.
Steve, I'll just say this real quick because it's on social media, and I think now people are starting to grab it. A former coach who was here, Keith Burns, who is the father of Davis Burns, who played at Coronado, then ended up playing for UTEP, didn't stick around with Scotty Walden's team, although he did stick around during the spring camp portion before the transfer portal window closed. He's been commenting on some of my posts with Scotty Walden, and I'll say this, I just am not a fan of just the distasteful comments on this kind of stuff. He is somebody who has coached at a lot of different levels, Steve, Division I, Division II, Division III, junior college, and so forth. But yeah, just not a fan of like distasteful comments. I get it. Everybody's entitled to your own opinion, but when you're a coach, you're kind of in a different territory right there, and you have different obligations, different people who are looking at your posts and stuff like that.
That's true. Line ringing in. 505-6009, that is our telephone number. You mentioned it. Keith Burns was a former assistant coach at UTEP. He is now the football coach for the Fort Worth Country Day Athletics program. And it is surprising. You just don't normally see former coaches air out their comments on Twitter and X the way this was done. And you're right. It's not something we're used to seeing, Adrian, and quite frankly, it's now starting its own little firestorm with UTEP fans directly shooting back at Coach Burns. So That is also something that was a bit of a surprise for us.
Yeah, very much of a surprise. Again, was not expecting to see stuff like that. I get it. If you had somebody like Davis Burns who had a direct relationship with this program, you might feel a certain way or slighted if you're Keith Burns. But yeah, I think there's other ways to handle it rather than take it out on social media.
Yeah, that's true. All right, 33 past. The Sports Talk continues. Let's send it back now to the man across the glass, Mr. Broadus. He'll have this Sports Center for us. USC. He was the defensive coordinator at USC from 94 to 97.
Wow.
Arkansas defensive coordinator. Head coach for 3 seasons at the University of Tulsa. D.C. at San Jose State for 6 years. Secondaries coach at K-State. Secondaries coach at Ole Miss. Special teams assistant for the Oakland Raiders. Then went to the high school ranks 10 years ago before coming back to UTEP as secondaries and safeties coach and eventually the director of recruiting and player personnel for Dana Dimmel. That is a long resume, Adrian. 30-plus years of coaching, which also, again, makes the comments on Twitter and X that much more surprising today.
Yeah, he's such a, he's been around this business. He's been in the game. If you're not for changes that have happened, you're entitled to your own opinion. But to throw it out on social media where everybody can see it and it doesn't do you a service, it does your family kind of a disservice as far as the legacy that you're trying to leave here at UTEP or what you didn't do here at UTEP. So I'm just not a fan of it, period. I think that it's distasteful in this kind of regard.
Let's go to the phones right now as we continue 36 past the hour. Gator Richard going to lead us off on the phones. Go Gators! What's going on, man? How are you?
How about them Gators?
How about them Gators?
Hey, so I was looking at the Gator schedule. They're playing the Longhorns in November. Mm-hmm. And I also noticed that the Longhorns have someone that they used to play all the time. I'll say all the time, but it's been a good 11 years since they played them last. But since they're in the SEC now, they're going to be playing Texas A&M.
Yes.
So that should be a pretty interesting game as well, I think.
Oh, I would agree with that. As far as Florida goes, like I'm looking at their schedule, it's going to be fun. I mean, they open up against Miami. That's a big one. And, the rest of their non-conference is probably not much. But when you're in the SEC, you don't need to play a crazy non-conference. The SEC is enough of a battle anyway.
every year, see, they're going to open up with Miami, which is non-conference.
Right.
But every year at the end of the season, they play another non-conference, which is FSU.
Exactly.
So Florida will hold, the Florida heavyweight championship belt at the end of the season.
By the way, is Miami and Florida – I know Florida State's a standing game every year. Is Miami now going to be a new yearly thing?
No.
No. Too bad. That would be awesome. If they played Miami and Florida State every year, that would be amazing. But
it'd be good. Their schedule doesn't really allow it. And then FSU, they bank on it because that's a big moneymaker for that school. Until FSU joins the SEC like Oklahoma and Texas did this year.
You gonna go to Austin and go watch that Texas game on the 9th of November?
I'm debating on it. I've been talking to my brother about doing a road trip. He lives down there in South Florida, so we might just do that. I got my old Suburban running, and I just got a fresh paint job on her, and probably do a road trip.
Is your brother like you?
No, he's not. He's 13 years older than me, so he's the keeper of the vinyl. What I call him.
Is he as opinionated when it comes to sports like you?
No, he doesn't really follow it like that. I mean, he's a big Gator fan as well, but he doesn't follow like all the other sports. Like when I see something like a Bo Nix, I mean, Christ, how many years ago did that guy? He should have graduated like 3-4 years ago, I think.
And now he's probably going to start with the Broncos this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought Bo Nix finished up his deal or was going to finish up his deal at Auburn, and then next thing I know, he's sitting there at the Heisman Trophy thing, and I was like, wait, that's the same Bo Nix, you know what I mean?
But you want to know something interesting? Okay, listen. In the old days, meaning pre-portal and NIL, guys would come out early and be in the NFL, right? And they would always want to just jump into the league after they were NFL eligible. Now, because they're getting paid so much money to stay in college with NIL, you're seeing less and less of players that could go pro turning pro because they're going to play one more year and run it back because they're getting paid so well with their NIL in college.
I guess. I mean, it's still not an NFL contract what they're making in college, but
no, but it's better than it was. They used to get nothing, or they got it all under the table. Now it's suddenly legal.
Well, yeah, I kind of like the idea that I heard that Grungy, whatever his name
Mike
is.
Gundy. Yeah, Mike Gundy. I like Grungy. That's kind of cool because when Gundy was a quarterback at Oklahoma State, grunge was kind of becoming more and more popular in the early 90s. So Grungy works too. But, yeah, you like the idea of not taking any money until after the season?
Well, that, and then I heard that he's putting one of those what the hell,
QR codes. QR codes.
Yeah, the QR code on two QR codes on the player's helmet.
Yep.
So I guess if you I don't know.
You like that guy and you want to give him money, then you can just go right to the QR code and you're all set.
Yeah, but I mean, really, as a sports fan, would you do that? I don't know if I'd do that.
No, I wouldn't do that. But then again, I'm not a college athlete in 2024. That's the other issue. So good stuff. Appreciate you as always, Richard. Thanks for getting in. 42 past the hour. A whole lot more coming up. Hour 2 right around the corner. We'll also continue our Football Friday Night Football previews as we continue with District 1-5A Division 1. We'll keep that moving as well right here, 600 ESPN El Paso. And give us a little sneak preview on our Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch in our 5 o'clock hour. Super excited about that. But I'm also very excited about our fall football countdown brought to you by El Paso Community College for you high school football fans. Yesterday it was America's. Today it's El Dorado. Another program who has moved down to District 1-5A Division 2 under head coach Frank Martinez. But unlike what Americas is having to deal with, tell you what, Coach Martinez is pretty excited. He's got a veteran team. 8 on offense, 7 on defense, and considering they only won 1 game last season, Adrian, in 6A, maybe bringing everybody, nearly everybody back, 15 out of 22, and moving down a district is just what the doctor ordered for El Dorado.
Yeah, it possibly is. And the biggest storyline with them, going back to this district, it's so weird. For those who weren't listening yesterday, it's only a 4-team district, so everybody makes the playoffs, everybody gets into the postseason. America's El Dorado, Parkland, Bel Air. Those are the 4 teams and the only 4 teams that make up that district. And the Aztecs want to win this district. They want to be the district title winners, and the big reason why they want to make their name for this is they've got one of the top juniors in town, Ryan Estrada, who was injury-riddled last season, although he still found a way to be productive, which is interesting in itself, just under 1,000 yards on the season in his sophomore year. But he exploded as a freshman. He was one of the best freshmen that we've seen in this town in a long time. So Estrada is going to be a mainstay in the running back room. He could challenge to be the city's top rusher this year in 2024. I like this El Dorado team, and if they're going to win another district title like they did back with Ruben Torres and Cedarius Barfield when they were in 1-6A, this is the year. I feel like this is a good window of opportunity for them.
As good as Estrada is on the offensive side, is that the same value we can put on David Martinez on the defensive side of the ball?
So David Martinez is the production, right? Because he's such a productive linebacker. Last year, over 100 tackles on the season. You know, he finished also with 4 sacks, 4 tackles for loss last season as well. So I really am a big fan of him. I'm also a big fan of Adrian Olivas. He's somebody who defensively can help them out. In the secondary, he's going to be a mainstay. On offense, I could see him being a top wide receiver, maybe even a punt returner, kick returner in special teams.
Man, I love that. Hey, fall semester for our sponsor for our high school football previews, El Paso Community College, begins Monday, August the 26th. That's right, less than a week away. You know what? You can visit epcc.edu to register and talk to somebody about classes virtually. Also, excited about the extended hours to register in person at the Valle Verde campus, 919 Hunter Drive, open until 7 p.m. through the 27th of this month. That's right, 7 p.m. out at Valle Verde. And I'll tell you what, so many things going on at El Paso Community College. It just gets bigger and bigger for a school that's been around now for 55 years serving the borderland.
You know, the cool thing is they're not just about in-classroom learning. They also do workforce training. You can get certified and on the job in as little as 12 months at El Paso Community College. So if you're out there thinking, well, I don't know about school, like I don't know if I can actually take time in my day to actually do this, I got to focus on other things. Well, no problem. Check out the workforce training that is provided with El Paso Community College, so you can get on the job and certified in less than a year. I love that with EPCC, and check them out online, epcc.edu.
1 down, 1 to go. That's right. Bernie's going to join us here in a little bit and give us a sneak peek at the college football season and talk about the new deal with CBS. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch kicks off our 5 o'clock hour right here, 600 ESPN El Paso. Bowl business that lives in El Paso, and that's Bernie Olivas.
And the most popular, by the way.
He is the most popular. We saw that from this summer when we had the opportunity to go and broadcast live from the convention center and be a part of the bowl meetings, and saw how much everybody loves Bernie. In fact, Bernie was awarded a very special gift with a caricature of himself on a box that was now that's my new when he calls me, that's what shows up, Adrian. Whenever I know it's Bernie, I see his face from that box from that meeting when I took the picture.
Nice. A contact card right there?
He's my contact card. That's exactly right.
Ooh, I love it.
It's the only way it should be as far as I'm concerned. So, anyway, he's back. He's here. We've got a brand new CBS deal to talk about. We're kicking off our Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch. We finished our lunch bet from last season, which was also great, which we're going to talk about today. Move that microphone a little bit closer to you, Bernie. You don't even have to move closer to the mic. You can just move it closer to you. And there you go. Welcome back. How are you?
It's football season. It is football season. It's good to be back.
It's great to have you back. And by the way, I can tell you're busy because you're in a shirt and tie today. This is no polo shirt. This is not beach Bernie. This is back to working Bernie.
Yes, it is. Had a little personal thing to take care of today, but it's all right. That's the way we do it from about September all the way through the end of the year. So
right on.
We are excited. Matter of fact, just finished a board meeting. We're all excited to get this football season going. A lot of stuff going on over at the Sun Bowl office, and it just this is a fun time. This is fun. Everybody's in a really good mood because that's where we are. And again, got a lot of stuff to cover. If you let me today, beginning with the football, and if you don't mind, I still get asked a lot daily is, well, who's going to play in the Sun Bowl now that all those schools left to other conferences? So I want to make that straight. We are going to have access to all the Pac-12 schools that were there the last, forever.
Yeah.
For the next 2 years, we are still going to have access to UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Stanford, and Cal. They are not going to be allowed to go to the bowl games of their new conferences.
Unless
they're in the playoffs.
Unless they they go to the playoffs.
Unless they're in the playoffs.
That's right.
All right, which would be the same as if they were still in the Pac-12.
Exactly.
So we are still going to have access to all those schools that left the Pac-12 for the next 2 years, and then after that, we'll see what happens. But
good.
I get that question asked a lot because, again, Washington State, Oregon State are the only two, teams left from the Pac-12. So just to let everybody know, we are still going to have access to all those schools. So we'll start with that because I get that question asked almost everywhere I go. Well, who are you going to get for the Sun Bowl now? I said, well, that's who it's going to be.
Okay. Good start. Adrian, I know you're getting ready to get in on something too, so go ahead.
Bernie, when it comes to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, another thing that I think fans are also wondering is the date. That this has been publicized, obviously, by you all across social media. We've talked about this with you in the past as well, but can you just let us know kickoff time and all of that as far as date goes for the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl?
Forever we have been our traditional date for the Tony Tiger Sun Bowl has been December 31st. The last couple of years, the 31st was on a Saturday and a Sunday, so we moved it to a Friday. I think last year we had it on the 28th or 29th, one of those days. But we are now back on December 31st at noon local time on CBS. And by the way, since I said CBS, we just announced yesterday that CBS has re-upped their contract through 2030. So we have 6 more years of CBS, and we couldn't be happier.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. When you're on CBS and you're on network, and this is going to be our 57th consecutive year on CBS. And that is really, really good. And this is going to be our 91st Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. When you have a presence like that, and it makes it a lot easier to talk to conferences about getting their teams to come here because they know with the tradition and what we have going here on CBS. So that makes it a lot easier for us to go and solicit conferences to play in our game. So really looking forward to that. Kellogg's has already signed up for another 2+2 contract.
Which, by the way, this extension on CBS has to bode well for them because now they know that they are not going to lose network television. They're going to stay on the CBS network for the next 2 years, potentially 4. And when you're looking to kind of renew those deals, CBS has to play a huge impact with that audience on what they decide to do.
Absolutely. So things are looking really up for the Sun Bowl Association right now, football wise, and we couldn't be happier. And the staff is really working hard to make sure that this thing goes off well. Now, we all know we had Notre Dame last year. It was an incredible, terrific year. We can't expect Notre Dame to come here every other year, but we're going to continue to put on the best show possible for our fans here in El Paso and for the nation. So we're excited. Again, December 31st, I hope everybody goes out there and buys their tickets early. And while we're talking about tickets, they will go on sale September 1. All right, on sale September 1. That's just a few days from now. Go. We have our second-year ticket manager, David Brown, is ready to sell everything. He has said everything. He's ready to go. So please, let's sell out the Sun Bowl without Notre Dame. I would love to see that. And I guess we know that Notre Dame's going to sell it out anywhere they go.
Oh, yeah.
But we need to, here in El Paso, we need to sell it out with whomever plays in our game. And I hope all of you go out there and buy tickets to the game this year.
Meanwhile, I'm excited. I'm looking at the ACC right now, and it's wild. with Cal in this league now, and Stanford and SMU also being added to the mix. It's completely weird. Yeah. That's the whole thing about this. Now that the Pac-12 is scattered everywhere and they're in three or four different leagues, it's going to make this segment much more complex because we're going to have to be talking about so many different conferences and where all these teams are.
Absolutely, because they're going to be playing different levels of competition at each level. So it's going to make it very interesting at the end of the year. Of course, the first coaches poll came out, and there are 4 Pac-12 schools, listed in the top 25, and 5 ACC schools. And it's the same with the Associated Press, the media poll. There are 4 Pac-12 schools ranked in the top 25 and 5 ACC schools. So the Pac-12 schools, Oregon, Utah, Arizona, SC, and the ACC schools, Notre Dame, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina State.
Wild.
And those are pretty much the same in both the coaches poll and the associate and the media poll. So it's an exciting year for college football, and there's so many changes, with all the talk about the portal transfer, the NIL, and conference realignment. We're getting ready to play some football, and that's what I think everybody wants.
I'll tell you what else is wild is that when I'm on ESPN.com and I'm looking through all the conferences right now, and I go to Pac-12, there's 2 schools. It's so weird just looking at Pac-12 conference and seeing Oregon State and Washington State, and that's it.
That's right. It is. It is kind of weird, but they have 2 years to reform and to get their ducks in order and go from there. But for the next 2 years, they will still be. The bowl games will still be picking from the, for a while they call them the legacy schools, and those are the schools that have been there forever and have gone.
I'm trying to figure out how big the Big Ten is right now and how big the Big 12 is. Are they all like 18 each? Is that what we're talking about? For the Big Ten?
I think the Big Ten has 18. I think the Big 12 has 16. ACC has 15. And the SEC, I'm not sure with the SEC because we don't deal with the SEC, but they have a lot.
A lot.
Right. But I think it was 18, 16, 15, and then the SEC.
Okay.
16 teams for the SEC.
16. Right.
Okay. Point is, yes, if you're used to college football, you better start looking at it a little differently this year because things are definitely changing.
Absolutely. But
in a good way.
But once the ball's in the air, it's good old-fashioned football, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Bernie, this weekend, I heard this as a rumor. I'm jumping the gun already. Flag football is back for the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl tournament this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Glad you brought it up because that was on my list of things to cover. Yes, our 4th annual flag football presented by Goodwill will take place this Friday beginning at 5 o'clock over at the Westside Soccer Complex. We've got close to 80 teams participating, and this year we added a 5 versus 5 division.
Nice.
I was watching the NFL Flag Football Championships a couple of weeks ago on ESPN, and they're playing 5 versus 5, and there was very good flag football being played out there. So we have added a 5 versus 5 division for men and women. Along with the co-ed division in the 8 versus 8, we'll start at 5 o'clock on Friday and 8 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. Come on out. And while we're talking to that, Goodwill has become our title sponsor. They're the presenting sponsor for the flag football tournament, and they will have some bins out there. And I urge everybody who wants to get rid of anything that they have at the house that they want to get rid of, come down and deposit it. We'll have some bins out there for Goodwill to collect. It would be awesome to help them out and help whoever shops at Goodwill. So please, if you have something that you might have been sitting in your garage or your closet or any place else, come on down and bring it over to the Westside Soccer Complex and drop it off over there. They'd really appreciate it. We'd appreciate it, and we are very appreciative of Goodwill that they've stepped up to be our presenting sponsor of the flag football tournament.
Funny Goodwill story for you. About 20 years ago, Jordan Palmer and Johnny Lee Higgins went to Goodwill. They found a bunch of retro UTEP shirts that day, and one of them that Jordan bought was an I Was There UTEP BYU 1986 T-shirt.
Is that right?
Yes, and he was so happy. He was wearing it all season, and that was his favorite UTEP shirt that year because it was from the big upset over BYU.
I was at that game, and I can guarantee you I was at that game, but there's only about 10,000 people in the stands, but I've talked to about 50,000 people that said they were there.
Oh, yeah, they were. The list just grows and grows every time.
Yeah, but that's a good goodwill story. I tell you one thing, there's going to be a lot of Sun Bowl stuff that I'm going to be donating. So you want to pick up Sun Bowl stuff from schools from that played in the Sun Bowl that I have. I've gone through my closets and collected a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna be donating a lot of old Sun Bowl apparel to Goodwill this weekend.
I love it. So the point is that if you're ever looking to just remember, it's a tax write-off for people that do that for their taxes. All you got to do is estimate the values, bring it over. That's a great way to take care of things and give it to such a great cause.
Appreciate you saying that, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
All right. Because how many teams are we talking about altogether for this flag football?
Close to 80. We're at 78 right now, but our chairman said that he's got about 4 that I think are going to ready to sign up today or tomorrow.
Okay. I want to do trivia right now. Give somebody an opportunity. Hey, we're doing it today. We are giving away a pair of tickets to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, and I'm looking at the letter right now. It's great. This will give you 2 tickets. They're valued $32 each to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl game on Tuesday, December 31st at noon. By the way, this is the biggest thing I have to say this. If you win, we've got the envelopes at the radio station, but remember this, okay? You must redeem in person by Monday, December the 16th. That is very important. Can our winners redeem these now, or do they need to wait?
After September 1.
After September 1.
Correct.
Okay. That is beautiful. Well, that's only
and thank
less
you for
than 2
saying
weeks
that.
from now.
The redemption date is very important because we'll release a lot. If they haven't been redeemed, we'll release a lot of those tickets to regular ticket purchasers. All right.
Excellent. So I'm going to just write on this envelope, can be redeemed after September 1st. Okay. Let's throw that trivia question out there.
All right. Want to do this 14 weeks in a row. And Jay Pritchard, our marketing director, and Eddie Morelos, our media relations director, work hard to find these things, even though this one, I wouldn't call it a layup, but you got to think about this one. 4, 2 tickets to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl on December the 31st. Want to name all the Heisman Trophy winners that have played in the Sun Bowl, their names, and their schools. How many Heisman Trophy winners have played in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl game, and what schools did they play for?
That's a tough question. I like it. That's a good one. That's a zinger to start things off.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I like it. 505-6009. You got to think about that one for a second. That's not going to be as easy as you would expect. 505-6009, our telephone number. Lines available if you have the answer to trivia as we go to Charlie 1 for this traffic update. 21 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. Do we have a winner yet for trivia, Adrian?
We do. Shout out to Chris. He guessed it 4 for 4 right away.
Wow, Chris, very nicely done. Bernie, why don't you answer that trivia quiz for our listeners?
Well, I thought they were going to trip him up. I thought it was a layup at first, but then I thought it would trip him up. But the question was, name the Heisman Trophy winners that have played in the Sun Bowl game. And the answer is there have been 4.
Okay.
Tony Dorsett played for Pittsburgh in 1975. Barry Sanders played for Oklahoma State in 1987. Carson Palmer played for USC in 1998. And the most recent Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels, actually played for Arizona State in 2019.
That's a good one.
And we thought we'd trip him up because he won the Heisman Trophy at LSU, and LSU hasn't played in the Sun Bowl. But way to go. You got it. That's a very good answer. Good start to our trivia contest.
I love that. And again, reminder, Chris, we have the certificate here in-house. You can pick up those tickets after September 1st. After September 1st.
Bernie, here's my question to you. Do you root for former Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl players when they go off to the NFL? Like, for me, I'm going to be rooting for Jaden Daniels in a big way over the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely. See, and like I said, I'm a college football guy, and Yeah, I follow NFL a little bit, but not as much. So I root for players, not for teams. And you hit it right. You hit it. Hammer right on the head. Is that I root for players who have played here in the Sun Bowl, for sure. But yeah, I root for all those people who have played here, and I really can't say that I follow an NFL team or whatever, but I do follow players.
Have you ever had a player that's in the NFL that you've run into at some point that will stop you and talk about how much fun they had at the game that remembers?
Oh, Thurman Thomas. I ran into him in New Orleans.
Really?
And I looked up to him. I said, Thurman. He right away recognized me, and we moved over to the side. On the sidewalk, we just talked for a long time.
Oh, that's great. Love that.
Yeah, and it's funny that I've been at airports and I waiting for the luggage, and I see a Sun Bowl backpack come off on the luggage rack, and I'd go up and I'll say, "Hey, I'm Bernie." He said, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's they carry their stuff a lot, and that's why we give them their gifts. And a lot of them are logoed with our title sponsor. And I've seen a lot of Tony the Tiger backpacks in airports and on CBS People and everybody else. So yes, it's a lot of fun to meet those guys. And you just mentioned Sun Bowl, and they will talk to you. There's a lot of coaches that played in the Sun Bowl who are now coaching, and you go visit them, and you're looking for players, and they'll come over and say, "Hey, what a great time we had at your place."
Man, that's good news. I love that. Yeah. Congratulations also. Chick-fil-A is back again to sponsor the Tony the Tiger Selectum contest, which will kick off next week. And speaking of Chick-fil-A, Adrian paid off the bet. We went a few weeks ago. We all enjoyed the maple pepper bacon sandwich. That was fantastic. Bernie, the two of us, we enjoyed a peach milkshake that we had, and man, the food was amazing.
I love this contest because it comes with a free meal.
For you it has, and me it has. Yes,
I've been the loser of the back-to-back years, guys. I'm breaking the streak. Third year's the charm.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, I was going to say it comes with a free meal for me.
I would ask Alberto if he wants to take part in this contest. The only problem is, if there's four of us, that means the tab will run more than the air fryer you just bought this past weekend. Or do you want to get involved and risk it, or would you rather stay away?
No, I think I'd be interested in risking it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit?
Risk it for the biscuit.
All right, then it's up to Adrian, Bernie, and I to decide if we keep this as a three-man race, or if we add a fourth in there. We have to decide that.
We'll decide, and there'll be a five. For the food, it'll be five, but we'll have still trying to find a guest picker
every week.
Every week.
I'm sure Anthony and Joy have to come back for week one. That's the tradition.
That's
for them.
Exactly right.
So we'll certainly look forward to seeing them next week. All right. That's good news. Excited about that. And love the fact that Chick-fil-A is back. In fact, I expect more registrations than ever before for this contest.
So do I. I think, like I said, it's picked up steam every year. I think it's a lot of fun. I think the teams, like I said, it's going to be a lot different this year because we're going to have teams from all types of conferences, participating in this. So it's going to be quite some fun.
And we will start that contest next week.
But the games for next week are already online, so you can go right now to our website and start and make your selections right away.
Oh my God, I'm on it right now, and I'm seeing this. This is amazing, Bernie.
Yeah, it's already on there.
Love it. And by the way, for those of you wondering, for week one, a lot of games. And you've done it, by the way. You figured out a way to involve every single Pac-12 or ACC school in all these games.
Yeah, we got 5 Pac-12s and 5 ACC schools playing against whomever. Of course, none of them are conference games. I think there's one conference game in there in the ACC that we picked, I think.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm happy they're already up and you've launched that. That is great news. Meanwhile, you've met with the ACC and you've met with, I'm assuming, did you meet with every conference involved or just the Pac-12? How did you handle your preseason meetings with the Pac-12 conference and its former members?
Well, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 both met in the same hotel in Las Vegas. So I went to the media days with the Big 12 there, and then the Pac-12 had a small. Obviously, they only had 2 schools. They had their coaches, their players, but they brought in former players from each school to participate in their media days. There was only about 10 media people there, but it was very well done.
Where was it?
It was at Bellagio in Las Vegas.
Oh, very nice. Okay, good.
The actual media, the meetings for the Big 12 were actually at the football stadium, which was tremendous.
Oh, very good.
What's the
Allegiant
Stadium?
Yeah, I think it's enormous.
Yeah, it is, and they had it on the field there at Allegiant Stadium. It was a fantastic meeting. I did go to the ACC meeting also for a couple of days, and those were in Charlotte.
Okay,
and the Big Ten had theirs in Indianapolis at the
Lucas Oil
on the field. And it's funny, they were there. It was right in the middle of the field like 2 weeks after they had a swimming pool in the middle of the field. That's where the Olympic trials were held.
I did not know that.
And they built a swimming pool on the middle of the field.
How did they do that?
Very carefully, I would imagine. I don't know. I was asking all kinds of questions. I was asking, it was 10 feet high, and the way they fixed it was, they tried to explain how they put that swimming pool in there, and I think they put in 3 pools or 4 pools in there.
Holy cow! I've never heard of a temporary swimming pool in a football stadium. That is wild.
Neither had I, and I understand the same thing's going to happen in Los Angeles. They're going to put that.
Where, at SoFi?
No. I think it's going to be at the Coliseum. I think SoFi is going to be used for – no, it's the other way around. I think you're right. The Coliseum is going to be used for track and field. SoFi is going to be used for swimming.
Makes sense since the Coliseum has always been used for track and field and did that for the '84 Olympics.
But they took out the track.
Did they really?
Yes, when they redid the Coliseum, they took out the track and reduced the seating capacity from – I can't remember, it was 80-something down to 60-something, but they're going to
build it back up.
Can't remember the number that I heard.
So they're going to increase this. Are they going to increase the size, or are they just going to put the track back?
Well, they have to put the track in. By putting the track in, they're going to reduce the size as it stands now because.
Well, wouldn't they have gained more seats when they took the track out years ago? How could they have reduced it and taken out the?
Uh,
I don't understand.
Stanford did the same thing. Stanford went from 80-something to 60-something.
Did they add private suites, and basically that's how they did it?
Pretty much.
So
I've been to Stanford. I've been to Stanford Stadium both in the old days and the new days.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. I haven't been to the Coliseum in a while, but I was looking at they're going to, and it's going to cost them millions to put a track back in the Coliseum.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. The amount of money LA is going to put for that Olympics is going to be mind-boggling. All right, more in a moment as we wrap things up with Bernie on our first Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch of the season. But before we do that, let's go to Adrian and get this Sports Center update. We're going to wind things down right now with Bernie and conclude our Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch. You crowned a new Sun Court recently. Let's talk about that.
Yes, we did. Our 90th edition of our Sun Bowl Sun Court was crowned a couple of weeks ago, and Reagan Jaber is our 2024-25 Sun Queen. She's a student at Texas Tech University. Ashley Rios, a student at Texas A&M University, is our lady in waiting. Tremendous young women. The whole court is, you read their bios, and these are some pretty intelligent young ladies that we have on our court this year.
I'm excited.
And they're spread out all over the country. Well, we have Texas Tech, we have Texas A&M, we have Trinity, we have Georgia, we have Baylor. And of course, we have UTEP represented with about 5 of our young ladies. So they're super, super nice young ladies, and they're our ambassadors of the Sun Bowl. They'll be greeting all our hosts, and they'll be attending all our events, being, talking about El Paso, talking about the Sun Bowl.
Is it hard to believe that the parade is like 3 months away?
It is. It is. It's all here. It is all here now.
You got punt, pass, and kick still to come. You got a lot of events happening. The basketball tournament as well. The West Star, Don Haskins, Sun Bowl Invitational. So a lot of things going on between now and late December for the game on the 31st.
Absolutely, and like I said, that's what we do. We are excited. The staff is excited. Just tell everybody. I'm telling everybody, stay healthy because it's going to be pretty busy. End of the year. From now on, and we're excited. Just came from a board meeting. We're all excited. Like I said, again, I just hope that we can sell at the Sun Bowl without a Notre Dame being there. And just it's such a great event for everybody. Go out and get your tickets and let's show everybody, hey, we can sell it. We don't need Notre Dame to sell this game out. We'll have 2 pretty good football teams playing on December 31st.
Tickets going on sale soon, and that also includes the premium seating items seating areas as well.
Correct, and our premium seating seats are pretty good. Those are the blue seats underneath the press box, and you got your own open your bar. Right above that, of course, we have tickets in the Durham Center that allows you to go down the field in the end zone, and of course, the Hunt Club upstairs also available. So there's all kinds of options, and of course, for everybody's pocketbook, our end zone tickets are only $22. So go out there and get your tickets now.
Good stuff. Bernie, appreciate you being with us today. We'll see you right back here next week, 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock. We'll do the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch for the first time with picking games, and then we'll have a decision on Alberto. Well, Adrian, we'll have to really think about this for a second. It's not going to be an easy one for us.
We have to initiate him correctly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But we appreciate you, Bernie. Thank you.
You got it.
Bernie Olivas, you got it. Executive Director, Sun Bowl Association. Tim Haggerty will join us from the ballpark, getting you ready for the Chihuahuas in Oklahoma City. That's next. Sports Talk continues, 600 ESPN El Paso.